everyone, and welcome. My name is Kim Hudabin, and today I want to welcome you to join myself and my co-host, Joanna B. Wilder, on our podcast, Being Disruptive by Design. It's who we are here to be by design. So today, this is our first episode, and we're so excited. It is titled Born to Disrupt, and it's all about owning your energy as a female manifestor. So welcome once again. We're going to dive into what it means to be a female manifestor, all things. And we're going to talk today about some important things. We're going to talk about what it's like when you discover you're a manifestor, why it's so helpful to understand how your energy as a manifestor works, even if you're not aware of it. And the fact that we can be spontaneous and inconsistent, and sometimes that leads to being judged. So jump in here, come home, join us, grab a coffee. And if you enjoy what you hear on our episode today, I invite you to invite your girlfriends to join us as well. Leave comments and questions, and then like us below and share. You will find transcripts and summaries of today's episode. So let's dive into the beginning of discovering that you're a manifestor. Hello, all, and welcome to Being Disruptive by Design. I'm super excited. We're just getting started on our podcast, and I am here with my lovely co-host, Joanna B. Wilder. And I forgot to say this as we've been practicing, but even your Instagram handle is so manifestory. Just be wild. I mean, perfectly in line with this. So, and excuse me, I'm Kimberly B. Hudabin. I just didn't even introduce myself. But we are here to talk to specifically female manifestors about, with, for. This program is all about for and with manifestors. And that's why I'm super excited that you're here, because you give that beautiful dimension to help people to see, even if you're a manifestor, like we can be very, very different. And we're also in slightly different places in our path. And so beautiful reflection. I'm super happy to have you here.
I am too.
So we were talking earlier, we were practicing, like for people that are just getting to know human design, really don't understand like what even a manifestor is. Because I remember I asked you, because we were talking about this, what was your first reaction when you saw that human design chart?
This is too much. I can't process this right now.
You're about to say to me like,
and because I've experienced a variety of and administered a variety of personality or leadership assessments.
Right.
One of the reactions, great. I'm again like this small percentage of something. I'm different. Some of the language was, it didn't off-put me entirely.
Well, that's good.
But I did go and do some personal quick Googling research to understand some terms. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that enabled me to absorb and listen to some workshops and learning sessions I attended with you, facilitating them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I maintained openness to it, because I think I was at a point in my life where I kept saying, get unstuck or get out of a rut. What's my purpose?
Right.
So I was in a place to receive it, but I had to take a step back from it.
Okay. So thank you. This is why I love this partnership, because you just delivered the best softball. So for those of you that are out there, what we're going to be talking about, it's basically there's two chicks talking about like, this is what happens when you discover you're a manifestor. So for those of you that are just now looking at your chart, because personally, I looked at it and just like, okay, computer slammed. Don't have time for this. Because as a manifestor, I love that you Google some things about it. Like we just want to make things happen. We want them to happen. So a manifestor basically is one of 5 different human design energy types. We are, as you mentioned, thank you, a small percentage. And the reason this is so impactful, especially for women, is because being that small percentage, we don't understand, or until we get to know ourselves and we understand, we're trying to operate like the rest of the world. We're trying to be like the rest of the world. And energy type simply means our energetic essence, how we can best show up in the world. Well, the rest of the world, or at least 75% of it, are a generator type. They have this consistent, like, Energizer Bunny energy. We don't. So we're constantly asking ourselves, like, what's wrong with me? So when you say get unstuck, I want to burn out, something's got to change. And that's why we're here, is to talk to women who are in that same place, who are going, what the heck is wrong with me? I mean, I don't know about you, but like that was kind of a constant theme in my life, that voice going, I'm different and I want to fit in. I want people to like me. I want things to be easy. I don't want them to be hard. I don't want this. I don't want this.
Spot on.
So what was it like for you? Because this will trigger my own thoughts. When I first learned that I was a manifestor, like, there's that part that goes, oh, wow, so I'm special. And there's other part that goes, oh, great, so I'm effing special. So it goes back to that same thing, like we don't fit in. And especially for women, because manifestor energy is initiating energy. And it's sort of like whether we're aware of it or not, whether we want to become aware of it or not, it precedes us. It walks into the room before we do, and other people feel it. Mm-hmm. So for me, part of the cool thing was like when I discovered it, when I understood it, it allowed me to go, oh, it's not that people don't like me. They don't get me. They don't understand me. And yeah, a lot of people don't like us, but it gave me a sense of acceptance. So if you think about some of the things, like when you first discovered that you're a manifestor, like share like some of the things that came up with you.
The first thing that really resonated for me was the awareness of my energy level, because the feedback or what I was sending out, and given that my career has been in corporate America, was that I had high capacity, high energy to deliver, to do it all on the home front, all of that. And people were like, how do you find your energy? And what I found in the background, yes, I was constantly doing, and to find time to just be was very hard for me, to just sit still and do nothing. So if I sat down and, let's say, just watch TV, or sat on the beach, I'd be folding clothes at the TV. I'd be watching the kids at the beach, wherever that is. There'd still be never just being. And that became very aware for me that how important rest was for me as I understood that more. The waves of that it comes in waves. And then all of a sudden, once I rested, what I came out of, call it flow, I was in pure creative flow. Maybe not making decisions. I always felt the need to decide, to create a solution, deliver, that it was best for me to sit and wait. That was very relieving for me at the beginner level. And I became aware of those waves. And then all of a sudden I said, great, am I ready to make a decision? Am I ready to take this project on? And then at that higher point, and I allowed myself time not to think about whatever I was dealing with in that low point, and just rest or do something super creative. It gave me permission to play.
Thank you.
Again, rest. I guess for me, playing is rest.
Yeah.
Well, and may not require a lot of energy, but playing with whatever your favorite show, or playing with, for me, cooking, exploring a new recipe. Again, noticed I was picking not complicated things to do.
Well, so that was huge for me too, because as a manifestor, we can do things. We can't always tell you what we're going to do. So, a strategy for a manifestor is for us to inform other people. But what I discovered was that because I needed rest and I couldn't acknowledge it. I couldn't say, man, I'm just tired. I can't do that. Because the same thing with you, like there's this voice in our head because the rest of the world is saying, do it, just do it.
Those 3 words, I am tired, are so important for me because my family probably was much more aware of this because when I was tired, the anger came out.
Thank you.
And that's where the pattern became I was able to connect it.
Okay.
Mom, you're tired. Let's talk about this tomorrow. My husband, let's put a pin in this. So now I go,
Bravo.
I'm not able to give you an answer because I'm really tired right now. Or you're pushing me. I can't do this right now. And in some cases, I'm going to take a break from this. I'm going to walk away. So it's not that I'm the anger part. It was more of like being aware of, I don't know if you all saw the movie Up, the little character that goes off, the red thing that like triggers. So it's almost like I saw myself, I'm in a yellow, the amber starting to burn. It's like it's a signal that either I'm super tired, it's coming, that someone's not allowing me to do this, so give this to yourself. And B, the anger is sometimes a light of awareness versus
it's
something
a sign.
Negative. Yeah, it's a sign.
So let's kind of go back to, because you said so many things in there that I really want to kind of unpack. So to give people a basic idea of a manifestor, we are like between 7 and 9% of the population, but basically we're operating like 70% of the population, and we don't have the energy to do that. We do operate in creative bursts, and then we truly need like 80% of the time rest. Like really rest. Like one of the key things is even if we lie down before we go to sleep at night, to allow that energy to dissipate. But we don't know this. And especially as women, we don't know this because we are constantly like, we got to do it all. We got to do it all. We have a job. And you brought up the fact that I haven't introduced to the audience. I mean, in the beginning, I shared this, but you live in the corporate world. For a manifestor, that's like, because it requires this constant, and you're working with 70% of the population who's doing this all the time. The other key point that you brought up, yes, anger is it's your sign. I make a joke about, I forget the comedian, it wasn't Bill Engvall, but it was one of those like country comedians from the 90s that said, hey, here's your sign. Because it might have been Bill Engvall. It's like anger is working for us. So manifestors, because we're a rare breed, we feel different. We don't feel like we fit in. As women, we're trying so hard to keep up with everything, but it's also really masculine energy. I mean, we're here to initiate and inform, which is why we're one of the most conditioned energy types. Because I don't know about you, but when you were a baby, I didn't inform my parents of what I was going to do when I was 5 years old.
Exactly.
So we learn to like ask permission. So I have a great question for you. What I discovered about myself, this was something that I read. And when I first read it, I was like, I don't want to own that. But I read one of the experts that talks about manifestors. She's like, they lie. We lie. We're liars. Why? I think I talked to you.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So like in other words, we don't want to be stopped. We definitely don't want to be told what to do. Like, tell us what to do, even veiled.
I lie when I need to rest and I don't want to see it.
Right. Okay, so that's what I mean.
Whatever, a white lie. You justify it by a white lie.
We feel like we have to hide.
Or I use a lot of, I'm not feeling well today.
Yes.
When in reality, I just need to rest. I'm not sick.
But we're exhausted. But we do need to rest before we get sick. That's the whole thing. So a manifestor, because we're this small percentage, because people typically don't understand manifestors, and because we're actually here to initiate. I think I said earlier, like our energy is coming into the room, whether we are aware of it or not. That's what creates that resistance. So if our strategy is like we inform people, but that's not really comfortable. Like, everybody that isn't a manifestor, you just inform people. Well,
and in certain settings, inform means you're telling me what to do. And you're not the boss of me. Or wait a second. Like, I'm informing you I'm doing this, or this needs to be done, and I'm going to go do it. It can be off-putting. So sometimes, let's say you don't lie, but you just go do it.
Well, I'm using the word lie because I laughed when I heard that, and I started owning that. I was like, yep, I lie, I hide, I sneak, because I don't want to be stopped. Whatever it is I want to do.
Interesting, right.
I just want people, And that anger that you talked about that finally erupts when we don't take care of ourselves is really there. Like I said, it's our sign. It's our sign to say, hey, something's not right here. Again, and we go back to informing, like that's not really easy to do. Like you just said, and especially for you, because you're in a corporate environment. Again, I get the hives just thinking about it.
The hierarchy.
Right. Now you've done a beautiful job, and we're going to go into that because we discussed the 3 things we wanted our audience to understand today is basically what a manifestor is and some of the hardships that we run into, some of the conditioning that we've experienced, and how to begin to see that. And then we're going to talk about I'm probably just going to sit down at that point and just let you talk. Like, I don't know how you do it in the corporate world. Like, as a manifestor, as who you are, I don't know how you do it. Because if I have too many calls structured in a day in my work, I'm like, no, I can't do that. No. I mean, I start thinking about it 3 days in advance. Like this, no, I get 5 calls. I get that.
Too much.
So, well, it feels controlling, which is silly because I'm the one who schedules the calls, but that's kind of that's how it works. I've always said, like, why am I rebelling against myself? Like, I created this. And that's because I feel, and you can give me feedback on this, because we're responding to 70% of the world. It isn't even that they're conditioning us. It's that we're conditioning ourselves to try to be like this other energetic being that we're not.
Right. And I agree.
Do you tell yourself that you're a failure if you can't do it? Like if you stop?
I have for years. I'm doing a lot better at that because of what I had mentioned earlier, that I need to elevate and be present at the most important meetings where my voice is better received. And the energy, even if I'm in a meeting that I know I have to be present, and being in every situation depletes me and doesn't make me the best I can be in a certain situation. I using this technology these days, I can mute myself. I can take myself off camera if I'm in an energy mode.
Ooh, I like that.
It's not great. However, in general, I rarely do that because people need to see you. So how do I want to be? I know it sounds, how do I want to be seen? Do I want to be seen high energy, present, involved in you, connected to you? That's important for me. Because when I don't show up like that, it just spirals into, oh my God, I said that wrong, I rambled, whatever else.
So I love that you shared that, because I think that's really, really important, because what I want to talk about is like what you've become aware of since you've learned that you're a manifestor. But I know that when we were talking about doing this podcast and why we wanted to do this podcast together, what our intention was, that you shared with me, like, yeah, I was aware of editing myself because I was aware of showing up the way I have to show up on corporate meetings.
Exactly.
So that's a beautiful example of editing of conditioning, where we feel like we have to be something that we're not in order to fit into a certain situation. And it's really insidious. Like I shared some personal examples with you of things that I have done where I just like, it takes me a second to go, whoa, wait a minute. I'm asking this person if it's okay if they can do something that has to do with my work or my business, as opposed to, hey, this is instead of informing. So it's a practice. So share with the audience a little bit about like your experience. You've shared some, but what have been some of your, I guess, some of your aha moments when you realize some of the things about being a manifestor, or maybe some of the challenges that you became aware of? Like, what was really supportive for you as you made this journey?
I am, I am, I have been feedback that has been given to me, or an awareness of, uh, is that you're an empath. I I can walk into a room or even a Zoom meeting, and that's crazy for me having now into this world. I can still feel the vibe
Mm.
of the situation.
Mm.
And now I understand that as a manifester, I see things before other people do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the big picture, it's the context. So
Mm-hmm.
I, for instance, may be aware that an announcement was made in this department, or I heard this and that, and I know all the big picture that these three people attended that
Mm.
meeting, and therefore it's that's why everyone seems off or they're not
Mm.
themselves. Gee, the vibe is great because I just saw the stock price and I just saw that they bought this company or whatever that is. So I think I've always said, like, and then people, I've realized that I'm maybe 3 steps ahead of them
Mm.
because of that ability to see, because I'm in the mode to initiate. I'm already ready to act upon
Mm-hmm.
what's
Mm.
already happening around to move the
Mm.
collective forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I think becoming aware that that is actually that's my core makeup, is
Mm-hmm.
I am here to serve. So I've always been a person of service, and I affiliated with my upbringing because my
Mm.
mother was that kind of person, giving back to the community, volunteering, um, always taking care of people that needed more help. And
Mm-hmm.
I just figured it was how I was raised. But
Mm.
as I move forward and learn more about this, no, I am actually here to lead, to support, to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
create a path to move people forward, to, and for me to do
Mm-hmm.
that is important.
Mm-hmm.
So those have been the things, kind of the before of feeling a little bit crazy,
Mm-hmm.
or is no one else seeing this? Is no one else feeling this?
Mm. Good point.
Because, and
Mm-hmm.
then when you said it in a room like that, I've learned to maybe hold back on that and see how I could present myself in a way that people can receive it better.
Okay, so
Um,
that's a key point. Okay, so I'm going to say that so this is the beauty about, like, when we're talking about like what's amazing to me, that you can be in a corporate environment, because that really, that's more of a response. That's more of a generator. So a
mm-hmm,
generator responds. Projectors need to be invited. Reflectors need to wait on like the lunar cycle. We actually are here to like just share what we see. Like you just said, like understanding that you're here to lead the collective, that you see things other people don't. But that's a beautiful point, because that's part of the learning I feel like we get to
mm-hmm,
do as manifestors,
yes.
is our power comes through our voice, but we've been conditioned to either go one of two ways, either to repress it out of fear of being too much, or to talk over out of like needing to be heard.
Mm-hmm,
So for me, what was huge about learning to be a manifestor is learning to use that voice in a way that is responsive to the collective. Because I love the fact that you said, we are here to lead, but we're here to lead collectively for all.
mm-hmm,
It satisfies our personal purpose as a manifestor, but it also is like we're part of the fabric. We aren't any greater than or more important than any other energy type. This is just our role. And if
right.
without that role, other people lack the ability to follow their role, to create. I mean, like Oprah Winfrey is a generator, Tony Robbins. I mean, like,
Mm-hmm,
so it isn't, but it is important And in that corporate environment, like there are so many things that instinctively still participates in the conditioning of.
It's almost like they call it pulse checks.
Mm-hmm.
So I have learned to get a pulse check before I walk into a meeting. I take a pulse check on the audience, or if there's someone else on the chat, which is another way for me to have my voice heard,
Right.
or empower others for the voice. So I may contact a team member. Did you hear that? Did you see that? Oh, I'm not
Beautiful.
clear I'm not clear. Can you, if you have a minute, where's that coming from? So I can facilitate this conversation.
Beautiful.
Better.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Like,
So naturally there's many ways to express your voice, and it doesn't necessarily always have to be you saying it.
right.
You can empower others with what you're seeing, what you're feeling, even using technology for, they call it polls. Do you like the direction of this meeting? Are you getting what you need out of this? So you can real time adjust. Now that's really hard. That's hard.
But see, that's the training that you have. I mean, I just marvel. I marvel. Like you were sharing.
But you can do it in your personal life too. Like, whoa, like walking in the door. I always say, like walking in the door. Whoa, what the heck happened today? Because everyone is like crazy, or everyone's calm. Maybe, Joanna, this isn't the time where you drop this awareness or what you need. So
Perfect.
you can take a pulse check when you're at home, or when you're in with a friendship, or a coffee chat, or a glass of wine. I think it's a practice I've been trying to integrate from the learnings of human design.
Okay, so unfortunately, like I just noticed that we're actually running out of time. And so I kind of want to wrap up some of the points that we talked about. And we really didn't even get into our history, which will be beautiful, because in episode number 2, where we're going to talk more about history and about your history before and our history before we understood human design, and some of the conditioning and some of the things that we've learned and how we've learned to move into operating in a better energy system. And I know we shared a lot out with the audience today, but the key things that I took away personally today were, well, beautiful ways that you have adapted as a manifestor in a corporate world with the awareness. And what I heard you say was, like, before you understood human design and you understood that you were a manifestor, you really thought something was wrong with you. You thought that
for sure
that you were broke. So did I. Like
not belonging. All that.
Right. But also, like, in energetically. And I don't know about you, but I was like I said, we either become like quiet, we become really conditioned pleasers, or we actually become, like, I want to say, tyrants. And that sounds extreme, but I became a very conditioned pleaser, asking permission all the time, not using my energy, feeling like I had to do it all, especially as women. Afraid. Afraid to use that really what feels like very masculine energy, and not knowing how to soften that to actually be myself and still be who I was supposed to be as a manifestor.
Yep.
Is there anything that you would like to add before we wrap up today?
It's all a big experiment, and you just roll with it. That's the whole journey of self-awareness. And it's almost like peeling an onion.
Yes.
Or starting to cut into an onion. At first, you brace yourself, because you may say, I hate this because it's going to cause me this, and I'm going to tear up and everything else. I think you got to focus on the end game of what beautiful things you can create once you dice and slice that onion. There's so many beautiful things that can be created out of that. So I'm still slicing the onion, and peeling it back. I can't wait to do it with you and others. So that's why I'm here.
I love that. Yes, we didn't talk about how we came together and why we're here, and we will dive into that in episode number 2. I just had so much fun talking to you.
Thank you.
I
Great
always
way to
go off
start
the
my
rails.
day.
Yeah, for you. Yeah,
But,
great way to end my day. So it's perfect.
with all of you. Thank you so much.
So thank you for being here, Joanna, and for being my co-host and being such a beautiful mirror and for sharing everything about your life with the audience. I had a great time.
Wonderful. Have a good night.
Yeah, be soon.
Good evening, good morning, wherever you are. I want to wrap things up. This was an amazing episode. Our first one. It was all about owning your energy as a female manifestor. Well, some of the big takeaways I had, we are rare and our energy is powerful, and it can even cause people to feel our presence before we even enter the room. That's pretty powerful. Another big takeaway and a self-learning that certainly helped me along the way, it is so essential that manifestors recognize our energy levels and honor that by resting. I really hope you enjoyed this first episode. We're so excited to have you, and we really want you to come back. Please share this blog with other fellow manifestors or leave a review. Give us your feedback. Give us a thumbs up. Your support really helps us continue to create great content. Remember, stay curious, stay inspired, and come home to your unique self.